Hey everybody, James Maris here. So, in last week's video we visited my parents in Augusta, Georgia, and on that video I used a song of mine as the background track. This week we're going to go over that song and some of the elements that went into writing as well as playing it. So, let's get started. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to notice in my song, which is titled America, it uses open D tuning instead of standard tuning. Standard tuning is going to be E, A, D, G, B, E on the open strings. And on the open D tuning, it will be D, A, D, F sharp, A, and D, so that when you strum the open guitar, it'll be a D chord. One of the trickier things about using open D is that all of your chords from standard D, your usual chord shapes, are not going to sound the same on the open D. So real quick, let's go into tuning for the open D. I'm going to down tune my E down to the D. I'm going to down tune the G down to F sharp. We're going to down tune the B string down to A. And the E string down to D. Little fine tuning here. And now we have open D. So if you play no frets and just strum the guitar open, it's going to create a D major chord. Now, as I was saying earlier, some of those shapes from before aren't going to translate the same way. We definitely don't get some of the chords that we're used to playing those same shapes, but we do end up with some interesting sounding chords, like that. That's a nice one, something like this. Right? That's something that I actually end up using in my piece. Another pretty cool aspect of open D tuning is not only do the open strings spell out a D chord, but you can use just one finger barred across all of the frets and create major chords throughout the entire guitar. And not only that, but the harmonics of the open D tuning are also really easy to work with. The natural harmonics, I mean. Because they're also going to spell out major chords. So you'll get some really interesting effects there as well. Alright, so let's get into the actual song. What I do on the actual song is I use 3 main chords. It's going to be the open D chord. I'm going to use this guy right here. You'll notice that I keep the D open. We have an open D pedal. Going to this chord here. Also with the D pedal, back to D. Cool. The next component of that song is going to be this little picking section that comes at the beginning. So what I'm doing are these pull-offs here onto the open strings. It sounds difficult, but I'm really just playing one note at a time with my index finger and plucking the open strings behind it. And then it creates this kind of finger-picked effect that sounds a little more difficult than it is, but has a pretty full sound that I like a lot. Right? And then we'll go into the chord here, into the harmonics. The next picking section uses sextuplets, which are 6 notes in one beat, played really fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here, I'll demonstrate that for you real quick, where that is. We have the regular picking notes, and here come the septuplets. We have it slow for you. We'll do it at speed. Following those 2 picking sections, we go back into those opening chords. But this time they're picked. create a different texture. Following that section in which we have the opening chords finger-picked, we have an improvisatory section where, again, we're using finger-picking, but we have this D pedal the whole time. A pedal means that the note doesn't ever change. And then we improvise in D mixolydian above that. D mixolydian is going to be just like D major, except for our 7th scale tone is going to be lowered. So instead of that 7th scale degree, that leading tone leading up to it, we're actually going to lower that one note to make it a mixolydian mode instead of the major scale. We have that kind of improvised section, and then following the improvised section we go back to picking our open chords. And into the fast picking section. Before finally ending on these open string harmonics on the D major chord. I really like the way that sounds. I like ending it that way. I like ending on the harmonics. I love the way harmonics sound just in general. I think they really fit the piece, having used harmonics throughout the piece. So what I'd like to do now is to do a performance of that piece for you right here. So I had written this song initially as one of my singer-songwriter pieces. It's a piece that has lyrics, it's like an actual song. I wrote it about 10 years ago, but at the time it was one of my least favorite songs, and I guess at the time it just wasn't being used for what it was intended for, which seems to be as a sketch for what it became now, a song that I'm a little bit more proud of. Now, with the open D-tuning and the finger-picking aspects of it, it really sounds like, kind of like banjo music to me, or like southern music, which is what inspired me to use it for last week's video in Georgia. I hope you guys enjoyed my performance of this piece, and if you wanted to make your own, I'm including the sheet music in a PDF attached to this video. Please let me know if you decide to make your own version. I'd love to look at it. Alright, I'll see you next week. Thanks, and keep watching.